Welcome everyone to Build 42, Part 1. I know everyone is hanging out for Part 2 of Zirconium, so I just wanted to give you this quick update. In Part 2, I want to go into the full technical details of the mods, but to be able to do that, to be able to get enough content for the video, we need to have progressed most of the way through the mods. I mean, I could do another quick video on the rest of the components and some pre-assembly, maybe a bit of early custom paint, but something that the customer wants to see is the full technical details of the mods, and that's something that I really want to do as well and that I'm really excited about. But the mods for Zirconium are more complex than anything we've ever done by far. They're actually more complex than the entire development of Spectre. The only reason we're able to do something like this as a one-off now is because from the experience with Spectre, we've developed the knowledge, the team, and the infrastructure. The second time around, it's obviously a lot easier. But we're talking about a 4 to 5 layer manifold, possibly even more layers. We've only started working on the loop layer now. But the loops actually pass over each other. The manifold is in the center with components mounted on both sides. So the loop has to pass through all of the layers one way and then back all of the layers the other way multiple times. So the amount of gaskets, the complexity is just insane. And we're having trouble fitting the cables. It's actually space constraints that's the biggest problem, cramming all of those components into that small space. And the customer flew in again the other day to re-brainstorm the design because we just couldn't fit all of the bits power hexagonal reservoirs. But anyway, that's just a little update. Build 42 is actually our first Phanteks Enthoo Elite build. And this is one of those iconic cases that I've really been wanting to have the opportunity to build into since it was first released. Really, the thing about this case that first struck me is the incredible amount of options. You get 2 extra boxes with a whole lot of cover panels, mounts, more drive bays. There are almost infinite configurations that you can do with this case. You can fill the bottom with hard drives, with radiators. There are so many different places to mount radiators on the bottom panel, on the dividing panel for the bottom compartment, the top panel, obviously, the front panel, removable radiator mounts. This case has more pieces and fasteners than I have ever seen. I had to completely dismantle one the other day for painting, and the amount of fasteners that I ended up with, it couldn't even fit in my normal fastener container that I use for dismantling cases. I needed to use 2 of them. There are just thousands, and if you don't label all of them, you're going to have a lot of trouble putting this case back together. But they've definitely done a great job on providing as many different configurations as possible. It's quite an expensive case at $900 US. It's very high end, and you can see why with all of the options that you have, all of the pieces. You also get a flight case. So, it's definitely the value is here, but you can see that they've put the value of the case not into kind of developing a new technology, but into giving you more of the sort of thing that's already there on the market. So it's all quite familiar, but in Phanteks' own taste and style. I haven't had enough experience with the case yet to be able to give a full opinion on it. For me, it takes a lot of builds to fully learn a case, because for me, every build is different. We're building custom systems. So even after the 10th build, I'm still learning things about the case. And I think that with this case, it will take a while because there are so many different possibilities. As you would expect in the Phanteks Enthoo Elite, this is going to be a dual loop build, and I'm going to be using Singularity Computers Protium pump and reservoir configurations with what is, to be honest, my favorite combination or configuration because there's many different options. So polished acrylic all round for the reservoir caps and the pump tops. For the pump covers, the black with silver rings, and for the reservoirs, the black rings. I haven't used the other options very much. I do use silver quite a bit, the silver reservoir rings and the silver pump covers, but I've hardly used the frosted acrylic, although it is like an excellent light diffuser. It creates an amazing glow if you add LEDs. And I haven't used the acetal very much either. Kind of the only benefit with acetal, I mean, if you want like an all black theme or black and gold or just a lot of black, it's good for the aesthetics, but it also has acetal, the material itself, higher chemical resistance and reliability. So for a test bed, if you're going to be changing out coolant a lot, heating it up, just giving it a good beating, then if you want more reliability, then choose acetal components. That goes for everything, water blocks. Now we're actually going to be putting out some guides soon for our products, which are long overdue. A lot of the complaints when we get bad reviews is that we don't have enough information and instructions, which is very surprising for Singularity Computers. You can always contact our support. We do our very best to answer all of our support within 24 hours. I'm very proud of our support. I am heavily involved in it, as is our entire team. And we actually put more effort into support than we do into sales, which is something quite unusual. We kind of ignore the sales emails a lot of the time and tend to go for the support emails because we want people to have the same, well, for me, I love doing this and I want other people to enjoy this as much as I do. So if they have a question or an issue, I want to be there to help them out. So we need to start putting out guides because it is our responsibility. Because the sort of questions that people have, how tight do I make the reservoir tube? And where do I put the O-rings? Like, do I need an O-ring between the pump top and the reservoir? So yeah, we're going to be answering all of the most common questions in our upcoming guides. And they won't actually go live on the channel because I don't want to bother the viewers that aren't customers with these videos. But they will be on all of our product pages, on our website. And, we'll make sure that they're very easy to access on social media as well. So that's it. The pump res combos are ready to go. And by the way, I've used the 200mm reservoir tubes for this build. It could probably fit a bit more, but I've decided to put the lower radiator inside of the main compartment. And I did that to kind of fill the space because we only have one GPU going into this build, so it's going to look a bit empty because this case is so massive. So yeah, I wanted to fill that main compartment a bit more. So putting the radiator on the inside of that compartment kind of restricts the reservoir length. But I think in this case, you could easily go up to 300mm if it wasn't for that. So we have a single 2080 Ti going into this build. I'm sure the customer is planning on upgrading. I did a custom backplate for this, but because the customer paid for the EK backplate, I swapped it out. I just wanted to see what it looked like and experiment a little bit. So this is the pump and reservoir combo plate, and this is something that I really like about the Enthoo Elite. How most case design, the only liquid cooling that they think about is the radiators. So it's got radiator mounts, that's it. But Phanteks tends to add a little bit more. So they have an area to actually mount the reservoirs. It's kind of dual purpose. It can be drive bays and other things. But all you have to do is remove the cover plates on this and some of the fasteners, and you have a really nice clean space to mount a couple of pump res combos. I created a custom panel to go onto this just to clean it up, and also so that I could do my through panel mods. But with some fairly minimal mods, I was able to add the pump res combos, through panel mods to clean up the loops. And this unit, there's a lot of integration here. Integration is something that we really like at Singularity Computers. So we have the Aquero, the FARB work, the pump res combos, the flow, temperature sensors, parts of the loop. It's all on this one piece. So when you pull this piece out, a lot of the components and the complexity come with it. So it's very quick and easy to dismantle the build for maintenance, for upgrades. It's easy to get components out of the way. So I had to do a bit of a mod to the motherboard tray to make some more room for this configuration. I could have actually not made the loops come across as far, but I wanted them to come pretty close to the motherboard. Otherwise, there's kind of no point in doing the through panel mods. If you only have a really short section around the back, you might as well just keep all of the loop around the front. But yeah, it was a good opportunity to add the flow sensors, which is something that the customer wanted for this build.